It's the final episode of this Halloweeny cash game session. We've definitely seen some blood, hoping for more.
Hey, it's Queens, and it's Halloween in August. Everybody's favorite.
Yep. Yeah, so don't get on us about social distancing, man. This was pre-pandemic. Everything's cool. There's DM5. He hates folding. As you see, he's bringing those cards back.
He really hates folding.
He's definitely not going to fold that hand now, right? Oh, he still folded it. Shocking. And you can't love getting
nothing with queens.
$15 with queens is a little bit like, come on, man.
Well, Wheel did make it 55 instead of normal open size, which I think he typically opens anywhere between 25 and 35. So strange.
Well, maybe he did want to just take it down then. You know, he's trying to have 1 or 0 opponents, I guess, and it worked.
Yeah.
Sure. Why not?
I mean, so there's a lot more value. Probably don't need to say this, but there's a lot more value in pre-flop fold equity in tournaments than cash games.
Yes, that's right. The tournaments you're trying to
get
steal
your post-flop value.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like tournaments, you're trying to steal the blinds, and in cash games, you're trying to win big pots post-flop, right? I mean,
yeah.
You steal a lot of blinds in the cash game, you could still be a huge loser. But
yes, you can.
You steal a lot of blinds in a tournament, you're probably doing very well.
Yeah, once the antes get in play, you're probably doing just fine. That's a nice feeling in tournaments when you win like 4 or 5 hands in an orbit with just the blinds at a stage where the antes are actually meaningful. It's pretty great.
Mm-hmm. Back in the day, too, when everyone would post an ante and everyone was posting small denomination chips and you just end up with all of them. It's so cool.
Yeah. Although it certainly slowed the game down.
Oh, yeah. No, it's better now, but...
What about the banana, though? There you go.
Marty opening a reasonable hand to a reasonable amount. It's very exciting.
That doesn't make sense to me. What did you say? Marty did 2 things reasonably at the same time?
So far. The question is, will there be a third reasonable thing? Well, he's not going to get a chance to extend the streak.
Well, there's always the next hand, Jonathan.
Yeah, but I don't think that's fair to ask.
You don't expect further reason. Let's see if let's play, is the next decision by Marty reasonable?
I mean, the thing is this, he has to get dealt a good hand, otherwise it's guaranteed not to be reasonable. So that's not fair.
Okay, fine.
He's only going to get dealt a good hand, 1 out of 5 times or so.
Well, he's under the gun. Let's see what he's got. Ace-5 off. This might be semi-reasonable.
Did he straddle or did he raise?
Yeah, he did a blind raise. So
okay, to 25. All right. I'm going to argue that
wasn't a decision.
Yeah, that's reasonable. Or does the blind raise even is okay. Whatever.
DM5, who loves playing hands too, has a real hand with the jacks.
Wheel calls. Wheel could have absolutely 3-bet that hand when DM5 is raising Marty's blind open, but he looks like he's right to just call. And
you know what? I think Marty did it. He pulled it off. Calling the ace-5 off.
Yep.
Totally reasonable there.
Totally. He's on fire. Whoa. Look at that flop for Wheel.
Good flop for Mr. Wheel, making the interns melt and flopping all the king-high flush draws and pairs.
Yep. That isn't flop sweat, Mr. Wheel. So just let that go. So DM5, known to never really want to fold any pair, but he just lets go of the jacks.
He folds quickly.
How about that? I wouldn't have thought that. And he gets to see it, too.
We've often praised DM5's post-flop instincts, and he certainly has player-dependent plans, which is key, especially when deep stacked and being a profitable player, because I would argue, and I believe you would agree with me, Jonathan, actually, I know you would agree with me, that the DM5's pre-flop stuff is leaking equity because he's just playing way too many hands in way too many situations. But he really, really does make up for a post-flop. I think in a deep stack game like this against these players, he's actually plus EV due to his post-flop abilities and instincts.
I think without question he's plus EV, and I think it's due to those things. He knows what his strength is. And you could even argue playing all these extra hands while problematic at times, keeps putting him in situations where he excels too. You know, he's like, well, if I'm good post flop, I'm just going to play post flop a lot, and he keeps finding himself in post flop spots and makes it work constantly, really constantly. So, I mean, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen him play a tournament, but I certainly hope he has different gears for when it's like 30 blinds effective at the table.
He was actually at the final table of one of the big tournaments we've done a final table for here in one of the 20Ks. But he didn't last long. He was short, and it was over fast. So
I forgot about that. You're right.
Yeah. It's going to check through. Timmer has the gutter to the nuts, but everybody turns some equity here. Stuart has kind of a monster, quiet monster.
That is a good nickname for Stuart, the Quiet Monster. Or maybe that'll be the documentary about him and his spree that he goes on eventually.
Perhaps. So if you're Stuart, are you raising this, do you think, or do you think it's a call? I like the call.
He calls.
Against these guys. Like, how are we supposed to ever win?
You might not have too much
pot?
fold equity.
You got to get there against these guys. It's like both these guys, getting through one of them is tough. Getting fold equity through both feels almost impossible. Maybe they have a hands that they could have folded this time, but maybe not. Marty might just not have folded a 7, period.
You see Stuart's face, his sigh of exasperation. Maybe the spree starts now. When I say spree, I mean spree of giving and charitable donation, of course.
I was not taking it that way. I'm glad you clarified. I thought you meant a spree of halitosis.
What are you saying? You're saying Stuart doesn't brush well?
I'm not saying that. If he hasn't gone on a spree yet, he obviously does brush well and uses mouthwash, but he's about to, out of rage, stop brushing and the like. No more brushing and flossing, so all these people can feel my breathy wrath, you know?
That'll show society.
I mean, you know, there are worse ways to deal with your anger, I guess.
That's true.
I'm going to bad breath the world. I mean, it's not so bad, really. He's not exactly a Marvel villain.
Rafi typically dresses like a banana when he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed, so looks like he's having a bad day today.
Yeah. That's too bad. I root for that kid. Because look at him. He needs a lot of help.
Sprite of a banana.
He is pretty much a joyful sprite. Joseph is really talking about something. But
he's leaning into the conversation.
Doesn't seem to care that the action's on him. Or maybe he's just thinking and talking.
Joseph sometimes squeezes in spots like this.
Yeah, I think he was
he's going to.
He was setting this up the whole part. That talking was part of it. Trying to make it look like
it's
more.
A big squeeze.
Yeah.
It should work. I mean, this is a chance for Marty to make a very unreasonable decision.
Oh,
he does. He makes a very unreasonable decision, and I love it.
Sure he was going to fold. Even Marty, I was sure was going to fold to this sizing with 7-5 off out of position. Marty flops best.
And he outflops the crap out of Joseph. Joseph might actually put a lot of chips in with this flop.
Well, we'll see. I don't know about it's
Marty's just going to lead for an undocumented amount. It's just like
oh no, he called it. He said an amount because he got changed.
Show me a card.
225 apparently.
Show me a 7. I might go.
Do you see that? Show me a 7. I might call. Marty could show him a 7.
Do you think he should?
I would definitely show him a 7 if I was him. Oh, the problem is like turns and rivers get weird. You know, if he knows one of your cards.
Yeah.
If it was the river, I'd show him a 7 for sure.
I mean, it would be wrong in this instance, but I can't imagine folding as Joseph against Marty here with middle pair and a good kicker.
Also, the backdoor diamonds with the king. I don't think you can fold this. But I think Joseph is leaning strongly towards it.
You want to play for the whole stack? You want to play for the whole stack?
If you have a bunch of outs.
I have a big pair.
He's already lying about what he has.
Here, show me a card. I'll show you a
He
card.
shows the king.
There's one card. Show me a card. You don't want to show me one?
No, that make you pay for it.
I might make you
Ship
pay.
it on my fold.
It's a good job by Marty to not show a card.
Yeah.
Not falling to the pressure of Joseph.
I can't believe Joseph showed the king of diamonds and
Wow.
calls. I can't believe it.
What do you got? You got something?
I
You have a 3?
can't believe
You
it.
have a 3?
Marty's now concerned that Joseph has kings, I guess.
I guess.
If you had a 3, you would have
That's bad. Ace king could be in play too, but Marty gets to win.
Well,
Good Stuart. Yeah, Joseph, you did that to yourself, buddy.
No, you're good.
Joseph, though, did successfully make it so he didn't have to put another chip in the pot after showing that king.
You're worried about king jack and diamond.
That might have been the case either way based on the run out, but yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right. But I think it made it even. I mean, Joseph claiming he has a big pair and then looking and only showing the king of diamonds feels very much like he does not have a big pair. But I would, ace king feels reasonable, and I don't know. That was a weird hand.
Yeah, I can't imagine a scenario, and maybe in the future it'll be pulled off, but it's hard to imagine a scenario where Joseph actually has another king under there when he shows one king.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's actually a pretty great play against a thinking player anyway, against someone who's going to be like, how can he have kings now?
Yeah.
Of course, the problem with this, especially on the flop, is when they know one of your cards on the flop, they can really use that against you very easily on turn and river.
We've got a Wonka limping under the gun with 8s alert.
Hello.
Which I think is related to Marty and DM5, maybe. Just
Yeah.
expecting that a lot of money could go in pre-flop anyway, and that you have no actual fold equity and doesn't want to play a huge multi-way pot out of position with 2 8s.
Yeah, he's just
And would have hated the flop.
just
still
interest- Yeah, just interested in set mining only. Marty certainly would have stuck around and flop top pair. So this is the cheap way out for Wonka. $10. And the good news is for Wonka in this situation too is if he flops a set of 8s, he might get unlimited action even though the pot is tiny.
Yeah, that's true. If there's ever a time that's good to do the classic, kind of noobish play of limping small pairs, this is the perfect time.
Yeah, limping speculative hands that are okay multi-way.
Yeah.
Like maybe you could limp 9-10 of diamonds also.
Right.
know. I guess you could.
No,
Yeah.
they said it, not me. If I
Obviously,
wasn't
once in a while,
hundred,
that's going to kill you too, where someone's going to make a straight when you make your set and all that, but who you let in the pot, but because of all the other pieces to it, it does seem like a reasonable strategy.
Yeah, we're gonna blame that one. That's Maria's fault, 100%.
I mean, it's so
Whoa.
face up, but when Marty and DM5 are at the table, just raising your really good hands and limping all your speculative hands kind of makes sense.
Yep. At some point, DM5 is probably going to make you pay for that, but
Right.
so Joseph with the overpair and gutter, Marty with the open ender, Wonk with bottom pair and a gutter.
Bet 30.
I think you said Joseph has an overpair, but that is
No,
not
no,
true.
overcard and a gutter.
Overcard.
If I said that, I didn't mean it. Anyway, let me say that.
Give me a little bit of.
I mean, so Joseph raises $40.
Marty's gonna fold.
That would make no sense. He shows.
He just showed a card. I thought.
He did.
Did he show a card?
He showed a card.
Show me the 8. So
I don't know what these guys are doing. Why are they showing cards?
even after you show me the 3, you're almost drawing dead.
Oh, he showed him the 3 apparently,
Well,
and then called.
Marty bets
So that
10.
caps him at Jack 3. Jack 3 is the
Yeah.
best hand he could have.
Exactly. Joseph raises again.
Drawing dead, Marty.
See, Jack 3 he's asking.
Ace 3.
I guess he could have Ace 3. And Marty makes the call. With Ace
And
3 being the literal best hand he could have. Joseph makes a pair on the river. Maybe that'll make him check if Marty doesn't bet.
Just tell me Marty isn't going to bet like $20 here. That would be the worst possible decision. Either bet a lot or check. He is
It looks like he's dealing with some demons there.
okay. He is sizing. He
Working
looks
through
like
some stuff.
he's getting his troops together for what looks like would be a bomb. If he indeed, he checks. Never mind. I don't know why he would do all that. Then he's trying to hope that Joseph checks back and Marty wins with 9 high. I mean,
That's what you have. The only thing you can have is 9-3.
Joseph's right.
You have 9-3. Ship it.
That's a big pot to win with Queen 4 of clubs on that run out.
these guys are playing some weird hands, man. These two.
No, he's got 9-3. I don't have to bet. You can't have any other 3s. You can't have any other 3s.
I feel like there's a chance that if Joseph and Marty went to dinner and had a conversation, and I was given the recording of that conversation, I would understand literally 0 of the sentences that were said or what topics they were discussing.
I feel like I would understand some of what Joseph was saying,
Yeah.
but I hear you.
I think Joseph would order pretty normally. Be like, yeah, I'll have the hamburger.
Call the other card.
But Marty would be like, "Where's the Space Fleet command?" Like or something when he was ordering. I don't know.
Marty does look a little bit like a Jedi with that hoodie
He's
action.
a character, man.
Yeah, he
Gotta
is.
love Marty.
He is a
Fun
character. He's a gentle maniac. Like a sweet, gentle maniac, you know? He's a little bit like Andre the Giant if Andre the Giant was like playing poker and crazy and with terrible ranges. You know?
Ooh, this could be trouble for
Yeah.
Wonka. Stuart certainly capable of bluffing on dry boards like this.
Yeah, Wonka's going to be, depending on the turn card, Wonka's probably going to be stuck for at least 2 streets most of the time. Wonka pretending to give it a think, but kind of always calling here.
Yeah, they do that. Yeah.
Maybe he just wants a little more TV time for that costume.
I mean, he put some effort in there. That
He
hat
did.
is pretty great.
The bow tie. Let's give credit to the bow tie. Even the shirt. Look at the undershirt. I mean, it's easy to miss it because of all the other stuff, but that shirt is working hard.
It's ruffly.
Yeah. And it's sort of blue, sort of gray. So we can't see it,
I
but
don't know.
Stuart bet,
I don't know if
apparently.
it's notable.
Oh, no. Wonka leads. Excuse
No.
me. I assumed Wonka had
Yeah, I did
checked.
bet. So what do you think is the intent here? Is Wonka just trying to deny equity to hands like King Queen, King Jack?
He thinks that either he can deny equity or get value of hands like pocket eights that are going to check back. I think it sort of does both those things pretty well. Stuart's often
Yeah.
checking this turn.
Especially when he has ace highs, he might check
Exactly.
this turn with ace highs to try to realize his equity, and he has those 4 additional outs of the 3 now.
Yep. Good river for Wonka. He might bet again here because pocket 7s are and pocket 9s and things are just checking back. He may bet to try small, but to get some value out of those hands.
This is
We'll
a
see.
scenario where you could do a blocker bet. You'd have to bet something like 110 to 150 to make it really feasibly a blocker bet, I think.
Yeah. I think around 150 is probably pretty good, but he checks. Hearts did
I don't
miss,
mind
and
that.
maybe he wants to give Hearts a chance to fire away too, as that's another possibility. Stuart
This would
probably
be a
gonna
pretty quality value bet by Stewart if he makes it. It's tough to put Wonka on a range with the line he took and the fact that Wonka's a good balanced player.
Yeah. Wonka doesn't have that many check raises, though, here. Obviously, if you're starting to get check raise, you have to reevaluate the whole thing. Maybe probably have to fold a lot, but I think it's a pretty mandatory bet ultimately. Wonka does call and will get the news. You were never good, sir.
Just trying to pick off missed hearts, I guess.
Maybe also Stuart could turn like an ace queen into a bluff there on the river.
No, I thought he had queens. I'm just saying, I thought he had queens. I thought
We have returned. Let's see what Marty does next. We should just call poker time. Let's see what Marty does next.
Well, he doesn't play that often on Poker Time, but when he does, you know, it's weird how DM5, who is often the dynamic at the table, becomes such a secondary thought, you know, at the table.
Yeah.
Like, even though he plays a lot of hands too and plays them aggressively and plays them interestingly. Well, enough of that. Stuart's got kings. And even though
So
he's
Timber's a pretty tight player. His range is going to be relatively tight. I think a 3-bet is the way to go to try to maximize value against Timber most of the time. But with Marty and DM5 at the table, you might want to let that happen behind you. Whoa, DM5's going to
Exactly.
flat the 3-bet
That's-
with Queen 10 off. This is what I'm talking about, leaking equity pre-flop. Obviously, this can't be profitable when a good player 3-bets the under the gun player when the good player is +1 for you
Sure.
to flat with only 1.1k back and Queen 10 off.
Yeah, agreed. I hear what you're saying about Stuart calling to try and get those guys to put in a big raise, but they're going to call your 3-bet anyway a lot, and you get to isolate more of the time. I think there's so much value in just 3-betting. That said, if you always 3-bet only your good hands, eventually DM5 will pick up on that at some point, right? DM5
So
with the overs. I thought he was going to... Wow, DM5's folding a lot post-flop. He usually calls in these spots.
He's correctly folding.
Yep, he was drawing super thin.
I don't think Stuart was ever going to fold a DM5 on that flop, no matter what DM5 did with that stack size.
I think you're probably right. I think that would be the correct decision. DM5 obviously thought that as well.
Liked Stuart's sizing as a side note there, 90 into the pot of 270.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Marty's
comes
suited.
Marty.
He's suited. Damn it. Marty's like, what's the point of raising? These maniacs are just going to call me anyway. Might as well limp with my speculative hand.
And DM5 obliges with the ace-10.
You can
get
see
the banana in there.
Rafi calling with the queen jack off. That he's not going to make that call even on the button. I think against a lot of raises, a lot of players. But here, you can see why he's doing it. What a spot.
Gut shot for Marty. Not much else going on. Timmer did fold 4-5 of clubs, which is a pretty tight fold out of the big blind when it's almost a guarantee that Marty's calling behind, getting really good pot odds.
He must have known that Marty had clubs as well, and it would have been drawing basically just a 4s, 5s, and straights. Of course, he'd still be ahead.
Marty's calling on the turn with his gut shot, and now there's another spade. It is an ace for DM5. Can Marty take it away, or will he try?
I hope he tries. He looks like he's going to.
He looks like he's going to.
What's DM5 going to do?
115.
He lets it go. Marty.
Bag of tricks.
Marty gets it through. It is hard to come up with very many hands Marty could have that don't have a spade in them when he check calls, right?
Yeah.
And then lead.
Nice work by Marty there.
Yeah. Like, is he really going to do that with a king? Seems unlikely. Although maybe he will. What the hell? As we've noted already, he makes surprising decisions.
He does.
I imagine there are times when people just lose so much money to Marty in a cash game. You know, when he's just a little hot, he's taking every pot down. It's just got to be, oh man, like 1 hour. How many buy-ins do you think you could lose to Marty in 1 hour if things are going really badly? I would say you could lose 3 or 4 probably if things.
You could lose the same amount of buy-ins to Marty as Marty could lose to you, so a lot.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Call. Fold. Yeah, Joseph folded. Sorry. David called. Raise. 95. Fold. Fold.
Rafi gonna enter the Shark Tank with Marty and DM5 with the best of it.
Yeah. DM5 with the old King 8 off, +2 call of the under the gun raise. Now it's Marty, but still.
It was a blind raise. By Marty.
Fair enough. But okay, fine. The King 8 limp +2.
Yep.
Anyway, Marty and DM5 flop pretty well. Rafi does have the gutter. And now it's a double gutter.
Bet 150.
This is never going to fold out DM5.
Raise.
He raises, in fact.
Oh, that's going to... Rafi can't stick around now. Wow. That raise is sort of perfect.
It's going to work out really well for DM5 equity-wise. He now has isolated the inferior hand with a lot fewer outs against him.
Yep. Rafi had 11 outs. He would have missed, but Marty checks. DM5 looks like he's going to go for value. He knows his customer.
It's a nice value bet.
Yep, I agree. Marty's in the tank this time.
Can't beat value, that's for sure.
9-10 got there enough to value bet. That's not great. 10x of hearts got there enough to value bet. Marty does
Makes
call.
the call.
9-6 was already there, I guess.
And I think that hand is a great example of DM5's post-flop feel and player understanding making up for his pre-flop looseness.
Yeah. that raise on the turn, not a raise a lot of players are going to make. Not one I would probably even have considered making, but does a great job. Even though Stuart wasn't going to get there anyway, DM5 gets more money in the pot now, sets himself up so he can make a river bet, which I don't think he can do if Stuart calls behind him on the turn, right? DM5's probably going to have to check that 10.
You mean Rafi, of course, but yes.
Yeah, of course I mean Rafi. I was just looking at Stuart when I said it, and to me, people are all the same.
You're
I
kind
don't
of like
see
a dog
faces.
in some ways.
People say they don't see color. I don't see faces or hair. I
Well,
just
face
see.
blindness is a real
Oh.
condition. You might want to consult.
Ugh.
somebody.
It is a real condition, isn't it? But not many people have it. In the movies, like so many people have it, though.
Yeah, just like amnesia.
That's right. The best part of every movie with someone with amnesia is the part when they say, "I remember everything," which always happens. There's like 20 minutes left in the movie. It's 100% going to happen.
DM5 with a monster flop here.
Yeah. And a
And
monster
he gets
turn.
there, but Marty does have equity. He's got the ace of diamonds, and he's going to lead. This is a dream come
Uh-oh.
true for DM5 right now.
So do you raise this right now as DM5, or do you let Marty keep on hanging himself? I think against Marty specifically, we could just put in a raise as DM5. He likes to call.
Yeah, I think so. Another
Stack
diamond would be devastating.
Oh, man. Oh, that's also
Ooh, but
devastating.
Marty makes aces up. Interesting. I think Marty could lose the whole stack here.
Yeah, I expect him to, quite frankly. He might just shove it himself, too. He does shove. Insta-call.
You can't love the insta-call.
No, the insta-call means you're losing. Figure an insta-call is at least like king-queen, right? Almost always
At a minimum, yeah.
Maybe a set of jacks. It's just insta-calls it, too. But
And I believe that's the end of young Marty's story for this session.
well, that was a tough hand for Marty, in fairness. Like,
Yeah.
if he's going to play, as soon as he gets to the flop, he's kind of going to lose a lot. Everyone's going to lose a lot no matter what. Here's our current winnings and losings. Marty's not on there, and that's why everything doesn't add up. But Wonka, the big winner. Joseph also doing well, and Timur. DM5 and Rafi.
DM5 still down after that pot. He's had a really rough session up until
Yeah.
this point.
Well, he spent some time trying to bluff Wonka, which can work, but if you take too many swings, it's not going to, because Wonka tries to stay pretty balanced. Now, with Marty not here, we're a little bit more short-handed, too. We're playing seven-handed. So Wonka elects to open the king-9 suited. I think if Marty were even here, he probably wouldn't have.
Yep. Looks like he's going to get the 3-bet out of Rafi with the jacks.
I like Rafi's sizing there.
And this is part of the fold range for Wonka for sure.
Oh, yeah. Especially
When a
against
player like Rafi 3-bets.
Wonka definitely perceives Rafi as being the nittiest nit. I was actually at some table where Wonka, Rafi, myself, and Stuart were all sitting there talking about whatever. And Wonka looked around and he said, "I think this is the nittiest 4 players in the city, all sitting together." And we're all like, "Yeah, that's probably about right. Seems right."
Only coming from about two,
So.
three guys.
They just don't realize that Brian's still there.
They get away with it so much.
Raise
On the
25.
late night.
Fold. 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 Call. Heads up.
Oh, is that the same table, I think?
DM5 out flopping Wheel, who has a gut shot, but no backdoor diamonds.
Expect Wheel to take one shot at this. He's got pretty good range advantage. If he were to improve in any way. Oh, wow. He just folds DM5 right out.
Well, DM5 finally takes a wrong step post-flop.
So unusual. DM5 feels like he always calls there. Like always.
I told you there was a lot of stuff going on over there.
I guess he thinks he has a read on Wheel. He was right before when he folded
like
the
there's-
jacks, though, in fairness.
Yeah, true.
Hey, guys, if you would have seen what he called with, you'd understand.
Looks like there's some commotion in the background distracting the players.
No,
Hmm.
it's not. I was just my own thought.
Well, it's Halloween, you know. Anything can happen.
No, no.
Back when you could go to a place and there could be commotion.
Yep. When people
The
handed
days.
people handed out candy to you and you just took it.
Yeah.
Remember those days?
Yeah.
Those were great days.
Is it back to me already?
You didn't dip it in bleach first? I want to see. I want the cameras to
know.
go back there.
Look at that.
I wanna
Stort
see what's
even
happened.
even Stort cares.
Portland on Halloween.
Maybe there's a fight. Who would you most like to see get into a fight at the table? Which two players? A fist fight, to be clear.
Marty's gone.
Yeah,
So that takes away one of my choices for sure.
I understand that.
Hey, look at this.
Wow.
This is quite a flop. Let's
Wow.
talk about that instead.
Yes, let's do it. They're deep also. They're really deep. This could be a monster pot, potentially. Now, Wonka's probably just going to play this as a call with top pair, though.
Yeah, he has showdown value. There's no real need to raise. The purpose of raising would be to build a pot for when the diamonds come in.
Yeah, but with
Because
top
that is
pair,
the most obvious draw, obviously.
with top pair, he might just fold out some hands he really wants to stick around. And, of course, he can bluff catch really comfortably with this hand with great equity.
That's what I was saying.
I expect Joseph to just keep betting, hoping
like-
that Wonka has an ace or perhaps a diamond draw that Joseph will be happy with either outcome against a diamond draw, mostly a call or a fold.
Yep.
Bet. 150.
Turns out Wonka has both, and he's definitely not folding.
This size is going to work really well against Wonka in that the only thing Joseph has to worry about is the diamond, and the price the diamonds are getting is not nearly good enough. Now, from Wonka's point of view, of course, with top pair as well, this is a super easy, straightforward call.
Yep.
And there, but Wonka drawing only to a diamond. A 6 would be a real bad card. I guess
Yeah,
the
that would
case,
hurt.
The case ace would have been bad too, but now Joseph,
Pretty bad run out
Yeah.
for Wonka's hand.
like Joseph barrels again. Wonka could at least consider folding, right? Like he shouldn't
Oh,
be beating any
absolutely.
value. Like King Queen just beat him. If somehow
Knowing
it bet the
Joseph, I
turn.
think he's only betting 2 pair plus on this river, but
Mm.
there's plenty of that in Joseph's range.
I mean, if Joseph's betting an ace, it's almost always beating Wonka anyway, right? Like ace jack is
Right, I'm
beating
just saying
him,
you're-
but I agree
you're-
with you.
I think it makes it more bluff heavy slightly that he only has 2 pair plus, but he still has
Ah.
plenty of 2 pair plus.
Got it. And you see Wonka's making the face of the guy who's thinking about all the things we're just saying. Can't beat any value. There was so much potential.
He also blocks all of the bluffs with equity by having diamonds.
Yep. Jack 10, by the way, if somehow Joseph was bluffing with that, just made the nuts.
Yep. It looks like Wonka is about to make the call, though.
Yeah. I think he's just doing
Doesn't look
this is
happy
what-
about it.
This is one of the better hands I can show up with here. Wonka may think he even folds King Queen on the turn a lot with the sizing that Joseph chose. So having top pair is actually pretty strong for Wonka, perhaps.
Yeah, I think by a couple years.
Bobby?
Yeah, because unless he had no reason to troll me. We were talking about it one time, and he was talking about Cleveland High School class or whatever. He's got me by a little bit. I mean, hold on. How do you think I am, Dad?
Well, Wonka did minimize the damage at least. It was 3 streets, but it wasn't crazy expensive.
Security. Security. That's what they need, right? Security to drag somebody out. Can you move him? Can you zoom
We've only got about 5 more minutes left in this entire Halloween session.
Yeah.
Raise 35.
Wait till you see what we bring next week. Next week things are going to be a little bit different. Let me just say that. We're going to jump into the pandemic era. Everyone will be wearing masks. There'll be bomb pots with all sorts of cards. 2-card bomb pots, 4-card bomb pots. It's going to be a little crazy.
that next
Straddles.
week?
Yeah. Straddles.
Bet 40.
Are you sure it's not just the normal poker time next week?
This is the last session of Halloween. So then it just goes to, I am sure. Yeah. Button straddles as well. Like everything's going to be different. It's going to be very exciting.
It's going to be a weird one.
Yep.
We will also be coming out with more normal poker time, of course. It is pandemic poker time, but also is just the 5-10 no limit hold'em.
That's what I'm referring to, actually. They're going to be bomb pots with 2 cards and 4 cards and straddles in that. There's also a bomb pot session which is going to be coming up, exclusive bomb pot, which I think is what you're referring to, which will also be coming out relatively soon. But that'll come out. That won't replace normal poker time. That'll be in addition to. So keep an eye out for
Okay,
that
I
stuff.
see.
It's going to be pretty great.
So normal poker time is just going to implement some of that bomb pot stuff.
Yeah, because the players want it so bad.
They
And we
can't get enough gamble.
Nope. Wait till you see the amount of gamble that's going to be brought to this table. It's going to be big. Going to be real big. So wheel comes in with the 3-bet with the ace-queen suited. Totally reasonable. Could have size? No, I guess the 4x sizing is also reasonable here.
Pretty standard out of position 3-bet
Yep.
sizing.
Sure. Joseph definitely can't fold this hand.
Can I see what you got behind?
Position.
Can you raise your arms right here or put your blacks forward? One of the two. Thank you.
Ace jack off is a reasonable candidate to fold, but
Wheel is pretty tight with his pre-flop 3-bets.
He
Just
is.
maybe worried about that.
and Joseph does
he,
throw
he
it
folds.
away.
He lets it go.
Wow, even with position, and he's going to get the. I don't know what news that is.
The bad news, I would call it. But Wheel is the most likely to win the hand if Joseph calls, because they're
Sure.
likely to both miss, and Wheel gets to c-bet.
Of course,
Assuming Wheel c-bets, he doesn't always c-bet.
he doesn't always see bet. Also, Joseph could flop. You know, they could both flop like a gut shot, and Wheel bets and Joseph floats, and then Wheel check folds the turn sometimes. Like, it's possible. But I hear you. Yeah, Wheel obviously has the advantage.
Fold.
Why did I hear the 3 minutes? Should have took it.
Fold.
He doesn't even know. Nobody else heard that.
Raise
You know how much-
35.
Never mind.
Fold.
He actually thinks it was good.
Rafi going to get involved on the button with a hand that he believes is good enough to call against DM5's range, which is probably correct.
Yeah, I think position is enough against TM5 in any kind of reasonable hand. Like, Rafi's in a good spot this way. I mean,
Well,
he's not going to win
that's
this
not
pot.
the flop anybody wanted to see, and I think that means it's DM5's pot to lose.
Yeah. But Rafi, you know, he invests $35 to try and win a big pot against DM5, and it doesn't have to work very often. And you can see how it could work a fair amount, right?
No, we're playing this one straight.
Oh, alrighty. That's good. Actually, cool. Because now if I get garbage, I don't have to put another nickel in.
We'll play this one straight and then the next.
No.
A lot of negotiating.
No. This is the last one. So it's like now or never.
So just to give everyone a sense, what we're going to be transitioning to is a bomb pot every orbit as of next week. So it's going to be crazy.
Well, that should create some blood.
Yeah. There'll be multiple bomb pots per session. And most of them will be 4-card bomb pots, I'll just tell you right now.
Meaning Omaha bomb pots.
Yeah, everyone gets 4 cards. So even more crazy action. Even more opportunities to talk yourself into putting all your whole stack in the middle. And here we are. I'm being told this is the last hand. Rafi with the bet and the hand that makes probably the most sense to bet.
Ambitious to try to get 4 opponents to fold, but I think
Yeah.
it's probably going to work against these holdings.
Agreed. And it
And
does.
It does.
So let's get a feel for where we ended up. If we could, Esther, if you could put up the, the numbers. This is the
Oh, it's
time, Esther.
Delilah.
Oh, sorry, Delilah.
Esther.
Yeah, good job. Okay, Smarty's not there, of
Good
course.
session for Wonka.
Yeah. Joseph, too. Those two guys crushed it. Nobody got really killed because Marty's not here anymore, but he's the one who took the brunt of the losses this time around.